Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for getting up from my chair in the middle of Christmas dinner and shouting "shut the F up" about my birthday in response to my husband's observation? So, ever since I had my son months ago, my husband has started making indirect comments about my body. He never says any hurtful words, but I find his observations, as he calls it, hurtful. For example, he'd see me wearing an old top and say, "Oh, that top used to look good on you, but not anymore though." Or when he looks at my waist and says, "Wow, didn't know your waist could get this wide." Basically passive stuff that I tried to ignore till it extended to friends and family. For your information, this went on for months and months and months. We went to Christmas celebration at his family's home. My sister-in-law complimented my floral maxi dress and my husband said, "I agree, it looks nice on you, though I have to admit that your waist could get smaller than this." Awkward silence took over. I was absolutely fuming, and this was my last straw. So I got up from my chair in the middle of dinner and shouted at the top of my lungs, "Shut the F up about my body." He was absolutely speechless as his family stared, while some others tried to get me to calm down, but situation got more tense and dinner ended up being cut short and my husband storming off to his friend's place to spend the night upon leaving a very nasty text saying I embarrassed him and made a scene over an observation he made. He called me childish and told me to get therapy for my insecurities instead of verbally abusing him and scaring his family. Now I feel like an absolute idiot butthole and like I ruined Christmas for him and everybody with my oversensitivity. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for silently getting up and walking out of the restaurant during New Year's evening dinner after I was told to pay for everyone at the table, my in-laws? I am 32 years old woman, recently inherited a good amount of money from my mom. I keep the money in a separate account as I still haven't decided what to do with it and I didn't want it to go to waste. I noticed my husband constantly bringing up the inheritance money and making countless suggestions as to how I should spend it. Another thing is that he expects me pay for nearly everything the past couple of weeks. For New Year's evening, my husband and I met up with his family at a restaurant to celebrate. It was going fine until I found out that I was expected to pay for everyone at the table. My husband's mom joked about paying for dinner out of my inheritance pocket, which made me livid, but I showed no reaction. Just silently paid for my own food and drinks. Then got up and made my way out of the restaurant. They were shouting after me like a crowd and my husband tried to get me to come back, but I drove home. He got back at 3 a.m. yelling at me saying I was pathetic to get up and walk out on him. And his family, after they relied on me to pay for their food and thought I was gracious enough to do it, but they were wrong. He said I humiliated him and family and that what I did was an attempt to get back at them for not being able to help mom when she was sick. Not true is all I'm gonna say. He is mad and is saying that I caused a huge rift between his family and me when it wouldn't have hurt me to pay for the celebratory dinner. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for refusing to tell my husband the gender of our baby after he skipped going to the doctor appointment with me? My husband and I are expecting. This is our first baby and we're excited. Thing is, he barely attends any doctor appointments with me and his excuses aren't even valid. He's willing to miss the doctor appointment over soccer or a drink or board game with friends. His response is always, "I'm not the one carrying the baby, why do I have to go see the doctor with you?" Last week was my final straw. He was supposed to come with me for the baby's gender reveal appointment, but he chose to not come last minute because his friend invited him to fish and chips meal. I was pretty livid but didn't make a fuss about it. Mom went with me instead. He texted asking me to tell him the results, boy or girl, but I refused to tell him. He kept spam calling me but I hung up each time. He came home fuming, demanding I tell him the results, but I refused and bluntly told him, since he refused to attend the appointment then he gets no results till after the baby's born, and said I was willing to die on this hill. He went off calling me spiteful and immature for doing this and punishing him. He said he's the father and has the right to know. He then called me dramatic since I wasn't alone and mom was with me. I said he gets no results, period. He's been fuming about it and told his family, and they're now pressuring me to stop playing mind games with him and tell him, but I declined. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for kicking out one of my bridesmaids for showing up in the wrong dress? I am 23-year-old woman. My wedding was back on Saturday, December 31st, and I'm still getting backlash from this, so I want to know if this was an butthole move. In the country I live in, it's currently winter, and we get a fair amount of snow, so my wedding was a winter-themed wedding. The color theme was forest green and gold. My dress was obviously white, and I chose the color of my bridesmaids' dresses to be forest green as well. My Mo's dress was black, and everyone was to wear gold accessories. I have this friend, we'll call her Kat, that I asked to be one of my bridesmaids. When we went dress shopping and I told them the color theme I was going for, Kat immediately expressed that she thought forest green was a bad choice. She said that thinks it's not a flattering color, and thought I should choose something different and more girly. I said no because my wedding was winter themed and I thought the color would go perfect with the theme. She suggested a pink, blue, even a red. I said no, but thanks for your opinion. She found out my Mo's dress was black and asked if she could wear black too. I said no, only my Mo was wearing black. I paid for all the dresses. Fast forward to wedding day, everyone's getting their hair and makeup done and Kat shows up 30 minutes late holding a bag that looked like it had a dress inside. I asked her what this was for. She told me it was for later on at the reception if she got uncomfortable and wanted to change after pictures. I was like, okay, cool. So fast forward, we're all dressed and walking down the stairs because the ceremony is beginning in 30 minutes and we were going to take some pictures before. Kat is the last person to come down and she's wearing a black dress. At the time I was preoccupied taking pictures with my parents, but my Mo came over to me and made me aware of the situation. I confronted Kat and asked her what was going on. She said she hates her bridesmaid dress, as the color is ugly and makes her look gross, so she's wearing black. I told her please go back and change. She refused and started walking away from me. I said I'm going to ask her one more time, and if she doesn't oblige I'm calling security and kicking her out. She began yelling at me to F off, so I called security and asked them to please escort her out. She started making a big scene yelling how I'm such a crap, that I can't force her to wear anything and that I'm a horrible, inconsiderate friend. The wedding went on and it was truly amazing. Ever since the wedding, Kat has been blowing up my phone with texts saying some really nasty things and asking for the money back she spent on the black dress, since it was a waste and she didn't get to wear it. I had to block her number. Some of my other bridesmaids have been giving me crap saying that it was a little harsh kicking her out and embarrassing her like that. And that maybe I should give her the money back. Am I the butthole for kicking her out? Next story. Am I the butthole for leaving my babies inside by themselves? I am 20 years old. I am mother of triplets whom are only 2 months old. I never expected ever in my life that I'd be a mother to triplets, so when I first became pregnant it was definitely the last thing in my mind. I'm home with my babies all day long and had to even transfer my education to online. Sometimes I just need some fresh air, especially when I can't get them to stop crying and I find myself getting super frustrated to the point of tears. It's honestly so hard and the dad isn't here to help us, he's either at work or at school. My 24-year-old fiance's parents rented us a main floor apartment, so when I step outside I'm literally just sitting on the chair right beside the door, plus I have a baby monitor step up in their room and it has a camera on it. I can literally see them and hear them, so if anything happened I'd be able to quickly get to them. Being able to step outside for a few minutes to take a breather is really important to me because I start to have many panic attacks when I can't get them to stop crying and I get really frustrated because I just feel super overwhelmed. Being able to go outside just gives me a chance to calm down. My fiancé came home to me sitting outside while the babies were crying and freaked out on me, calling me a horrible mom and a bunch of other names that I'm not gonna list here. He thinks that I was being super neglectful and putting the babies in harm's way, and even told his parents, and now everyone seemed to be really against me. I grow up in the system. My fiance's family is the only family I haven't ever known, so it breaks my heart that they are so upset with me, but I really don't think I was doing anything wrong or putting my babies in harm's way, but they seems to think otherwise. So here I am wondering if I should apologize for my actions or if I am the butthole in this situation. Next story. Am I the butthole for not wanting coal for Christmas? This year I went to my fiance's house for Christmas. It was my first time going, as we would typically go to my family's house instead. I got a rather pricey gift for my fiancé Dan related to his hobbies. I got nice gifts for Dan's parents based off of things I'd talked about with them before, and I got a small pack of chocolates for each of Dan's other relatives. I didn't know them that well, I wasn't expecting many gifts from Dan's relatives because I didn't know many of them that well, but I was certainly expecting more than I got. At first, I was excited when I saw that there was a big pile of gifts for me. However, once I opened the first one, it was just a piece of coal. Everyone laughed, and I just kind of laughed along, thinking it was a gag gift and that the other gifts would be different. But every single one turned out to be coal. All 18 of them. I started to get upset, so I cried and lashed out at Dan. But he calmly explained apparently this is a long-standing tradition in his family where they gift coal to newcomers who are celebrating Christmas with them for the first time. He explained that it's just easier that way since all the relatives who might not know the newcomer well don't have to stress over finding a gift, and it's a fun experience for the newcomer as well. I told Dan I couldn't believe I skipped my own family's celebration for this and left. But now Dan and some of his family are blowing up my phone saying I embarrassed him in front of his relatives and that I made it awkward for everyone. So am I the butthole? I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.